Cardi B has expressed her confusion at the immense hate being thrown her way since splitting from Offset. She's especially been taken aback by the fact that a lot of people are calling her a hoe. I was 16 at the time when I got to school in the morning, and my friends rushed over to tell me that Cardi B and Offset were married. And understandably so, I was like, Cardi B and who? As I gazed upon the photo of the newlyweds in the magazine that was being held up to my face, I casually let out a sigh filled with disappointment, because even at 16, I knew that that man was not going to bring anything but embarrassment, stress, and pain. I made a promise to myself that as I get older, I'll be less judgmental of other people's marriages. I'm hoping to cruise by minding my business avenue and eventually arrive at, if she loves it, then I love it station. But since I am still a 20 something old teenager, after many years, Cardi B has finally decided to break free from Offset. And during those truly embarrassing chapters of her lavish life, it started to dawn on me that Cardi B may be the kind of woman who believes that if she plays into a role that society kinda demands of her as a woman, that she'll one day get rewarded for her service. Speaking as one of the many, many women who has chosen to not follow the rules laid out for women in a patriarchal society, I believe that those of us that have chosen this path eventually came to the realization that in a patriarchal society, it truly does not matter what you do as a woman, because at some point you will be blamed for most of the bad things that happen. You will be labeled as the bad guy, and you will almost always at some point be labeled as a hoe. What I believe Cardi B didn't understand was that you can play into the role of the dutiful wife, as a selfless woman, as man's helpmate for years, even while in a horrendous marriage or relationship. The minute you decide to switch up, the minute you decide to make a decision that only benefits you as a woman, the minute you decide that you no longer want to play into this farce, which is the quote, good woman, your cheerleaders will turn into snakes trying to nip and bite you at any and every possible moment. But before I start to list all the things Cardi B did during the trials and tribulations of her union with Offset, I would like to first address the elephant in the room. Because Cardi B stayed with this man for so long, her career trajectory did not reach where I thought it was going to be at when I was first introduced to Cardi B in 2018. I think a lot of us, fans and non fans of Cardi B, can all agree that if she never got with Offset, and more importantly, was not incredibly male centered, like, girl, get up, her career and pockets would look very different by now. You know what they say, when the devil can't reach you, he'll send someone's bum of a son instead. Now, when it comes to Cardi B truly putting in the work to be a good woman, a selfless woman, here are some of the things Cardi did to build into the fantasy of every man child out there with no money, no self control, no skills, no talent, and no ambition. Auntie Cardi really pulled out all the stops here. Number one, she married a man who didn't make as much as she did. Listen, the Migos did have pretty successful years from 2016 to 2018. But here's the thing, no matter how much money they were gonna make after paying management and everyone else who gets their cut of the check, whatever was left was still gonna be split three ways, honey. Number two, she made him feel like he was that guy. You've heard of that girl. Well, she made sure he was perceived as that guy when Offset was so obviously just a boy. She bigged him up in her songs. She was his cheerleader in public and in private. You see, as a woman living in a patriarchal society, when you make the mistake of marrying a man who makes significantly less than you, it is not enough that you take on most, if not all, of the financial responsibilities. No, no, no. You also have to make sure that you constantly stroke his ego so that your probably insecure husband doesn't feel like the small fry that he knows deep down he truly is. Also, the fact that there are women out here earning six figures, marrying men who make like 40K, and these wives still do all the cooking and cleaning and handle everything child related. Jesus wept. Jesus fucking wept. Either get a housekeeper and a cook or get a divorce. But if you love it, I love it, honey. Number three, she accepted slash tolerated his constant infidelity. And not just his constant infidelity, but his infidelity in the eyes of the public. Cardi B was really doing the Lord's work with this one. She was feeding into one of man's greatest delusions that a man cheating on his girlfriend or spouse is not really a deal breaker. Because every time this man cheated, she pretended not to know, she attacked her fans online, she turned the other cheek, she occasionally crashed out, she even allegedly fought or set up one of the women he was fooling around with to get jumped. I don't know, man. Until one day she said, enough is enough. She had it, and she left him. And then she took him back. And then she left him again, and then she took him back. Number four, I'm of the impression that Cardi B provided for her and Offset's kids, mostly, if not all, through her sole earnings. Speaking of kids, Offset also had kids when she met him, so she took in his kids and looked after them as if they were her own, like a selfless good woman would. Number five, she got her body done, allegedly, practically after every one of her pregnancies. I'm trying not to get sued here. Either way, as you can see, she's gotten a lot of touch ups between 2018 and 2024. To a lot of people, man, woman, and non binary folks, she was the ultimate wife, a true wet dream, a real ride or die. But eventually, like most women, she realized that doing everything under the sun will never make that man any less horrible. So last year, she finally separated from him, and now they're in the midst of an ugly divorce. And for some of you watching that are just itching to say that, well, she also cheated on him, she's not perfect, I'm gonna tell you my opinion on that one, okay? I personally think that infidelity is a form of abuse. If you and your partner are not clicking anymore and you started developing wandering eye syndrome, I think you should just sit that person down and tell them to their face that you're sorry for wasting your time and that you don't want to continue with the relationship or partnership or marriage anymore. Or if you know deep down that you've never been able to just sit your ass down, simply confess to whoever you're with that you're just not built for monogamy. Because I support women's rights and wrongs on this channel, I need you guys to know that I have never, ever judged Cardi B for allegedly cheating on Offset. Because if there was an infidelity category in the Olympic Games, I know which one of these two I'd be sending over to represent the USA. And if you want to hit me with some misogynistic backwater town BS logic about how she was allegedly cheating when she was pregnant and she could have hurt the baby, so when this man had Cardi in the streets looking crazy, when Offset had her paranoid as hell, screaming and crashing out on Instagram, even allegedly putting hands on another woman or setting that other woman up, you don't think that was mentally affecting her? You don't think that the mental state of a pregnant woman is very important to the health and survival of a baby? It's funny that none of these people that came out to attack Cardi B for allegedly cheating had any qualms about Offset cheating. None of these people came out saying, if you're going to be a cheating bastard for the entirety of this marriage, at least don't cheat while she's pregnant. Won't you think of the baby? Crickets, a lot of these people didn't have anything to say. Do you know that it is a miracle that she was even able to give birth to 3 kids with all the stress this man put her through? In fact, every woman who has been with a cheating dog while she was pregnant, you guys should really thank your lucky stars that that woman was able to give birth, because that kind of stress can be fatal for a baby. And for every pregnant woman who is currently with a cheating dog, if you can leave, why is you still there? Because we knew that Auntie Cardi could have left anytime she wanted. Let us not forget between these two who really has money. I mean, seeing as this man is trying to get spousal and child support when this man probably doesn't even know the allergies, blood type, or eye color of any of his kids. Whatever. I say all of this to say that I hope that Sister Cardi has truly seen the light and has come to understand that there are no rewards for a truly, quote, selfless woman in a patriarchal society. Like, we live in a world where a woman's husband dies, and if that woman was to ever decide to move on, she will be seen as a hoe. When people thought that Vanessa Bryant was pregnant, a lot of people felt a particular way about it, even though Kobe's been in the ground for what, 5 years now? Meanwhile, a man's wife can expire today, and that same man is remarried 6 months later and no one has boo to say about it. For the people who have difficulty grasping the knowledge that I am about to drop on you, widows get lonely too. Widows also want to have a Netflix and chill partner. As Summer Walker famously said, girls need love. I believe that the only gift that I was born with was the ability to see through BS. So it didn't take long for my Gen Z ass to realize that words like whore, promiscuous, and slut were words thrown around, usually in response to a woman wanting better for herself, or a woman simply not conforming to a very niche mental cage of what a woman should be like in a patriarchal, misogynistic society. A lot of people really wish they could go back to a time when you could hang a sign on a woman's neck that says village whore, and everyone would rightfully ostracize her for committing one of the following crimes: rejecting a marriage proposal, having options, terminating a pregnancy, giving up a baby for adoption, not wanting to be a stay at home wife, wanting financial compensation for being a stay at home wife, knowing what you want in the bedroom, desiring marriage but not desiring children but not desiring marriage, not desiring marriage or children, not wanting to settle down before you turn 25, owning your own house, quote, being way too attractive to be a lesbian, having casual hookups or practicing abstinence, sleeping with a man after the first date, or deciding not to sleep with a man after the first date. That and many other crimes that I cannot currently get into. Sometimes it feels like a lot of people genuinely long for the days when they could publicly stone a woman or burn her at the stake and shout huzzah while doing it. Thankfully, we're not living in the 1500s, though scrolling through the internet often leaves a bitter pre women's rights aftertaste on my taste buds.